Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cool Guy Podcast. This is Marvin, your host, with my wife,
Caroline.
And
You don't sound too excited.
no, I'm excited. The one thing that I do not want is to not sound authentic. And we were authentic, yeah. And we were already recording something, and then our dog barked and just threw everything off. And now I don't want to talk about what we were talking about because
No, but you still sound tired. You still sound like not excited.
Right, because
now you're just annoyed.
Exactly. So
oh boy.
Yeah, I don't like to feel like I'm cheating people by being fake or, because like when I listen to a podcast is because I want to believe that they're being authentic about what they're saying and they're living in the moment and they're not editing, they're not, going off of a script. And I feel like, it took away my not motivation, but it took away my enthusiasm about what we were talking about. So maybe we'll talk about it again, but for now, we'll just find something else to talk about.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Text me if you want to know what we talked about.
Yeah, send her a message on Instagram. You're still...
No socials.
You're still off social media?
Yeah.
Now, how can I convince you to come back?
Why?
Because...
You live with me. What else do you want?
Well, yeah, but I'm the only one that is putting stuff out there
okay,
like on Instagram.
That stuff doesn't really work, though. Like, promoting on Instagram is just a tiny percentage of
Is it?
Yeah. Look at C&J. Like, we post on there all the time. Jen, posts on there all the time. And, yeah, people like our photos, but we don't, You don't get new business because of it? Not always. No, it's more like word of mouth. Word to mouth. How does that work?
Yeah, word of mouth.
So you want me back on just to share your...
Just to repost
IG?
My things.
So people don't do that.
I've added you or tagged you on a few things and it's like it doesn't get shared.
Well... No,
yeah.
You can like log into my page and share it.
I don't want to do that. That's also not authentic.
Oh boy, yeah.
Anyways, yesterday we were at a meeting that we had in Vancouver, and if you live in Portland, you know the traffic out here, and
terrible.
Especially at 5-6 o'clock. And
we
on
left
the way over,
like prime time too.
Yeah. Like we literally were in the car for just about an hour.
Yeah.
Which usually it takes about 30 minutes.
Long.
Oh yeah.
For us it's too long.
But we were listening to a podcast, which, man, like I was a little hesitant about talking about this on our podcast because it's definitely going to draw a line in the sand of where we stand. And I mean, I don't have that many
last week.
I don't have that many listeners to begin with. I mean, it's steadily growing. So thank you again if you are listening. And actually, while we're on the subject, if you can go ahead and write us a review, or maybe you want to wait until after this one is over. But if you can go write a review and give us a 5-star rating, that actually helps a lot.
Okay.
For new people.
Can I write ourselves one?
I did.
You did?
I think so. But anyhow, if you can do that, that would be great. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have been listening so far.
You know what annoys me?
What?
Is that we can't read the reviews of the people.
You can't? No, I'm sure you can. There has to be a way.
Because before I would see that you had like a 5-star review and I wanted to click on it and you can't see what they write. Is it just like the stars?
I know that you can see the stars, and as we speak, I'm trying to log in to this. So if you're somebody that has a podcast, you have this thing called Apple Podcast Connect or whatever, and it tells you like all of the back stuff that like all the analytics.
The logistics.
So because I don't have any reviews, I don't know if I'm actually able to see it, but I know that there is a section that says reviews and it had said none. I'm going to have to look into this. But anyhow, if you can go ahead and write us a review, that would be... Oh, here it is. Ratings and review. There it is. Look. Oh, actually, look. There is a comment.
Nobody can see what you're talking.
It says, great content. Love that it's unscripted. Just two regular people talking about
oh my God, that means
I
like when you...
Also.
Is that the one you wrote?
I love that they love Jesus.
Is that the one you wrote? Oh my God. Babe, I actually got so excited for a
Oh my
split second.
God. Okay, but
Until I realized that that's something you would
I think
say.
what gave it away was the unscripted, because I just went on a rant that I don't want to sound like that. That is so funny that you picked up on that.
I got so excited.
But I mean, the good news is that we do have 4 ratings, and those are 5 out of 5 stars.
And then is that like on all platforms or just Apple?
This one that I'm looking at in particular is just through Apple Podcasts.
Because on Spotify, it says 3 5-star reviews.
Oh, nice. See? So if you guys can... actually, I took a poll the other day.
We should take the one. Yours doesn't count, though.
No, I know it doesn't. But what I wanted was that people would see that and be like encouraged to like, oh, man, like I also want to leave a post, but I didn't want to be the first one, you know?
I see. Yeah.
But I did put a post or a poll about where people were listening the most on Apple, Spotify, or other. Okay. And so far, the majority is Apple, but just by like 1 or 2 votes. So I think there was a total of like 15 votes, something like that. I didn't check the final number. Like, I was at work. Life was happening. But it was really close between Apple and Spotify. And then there was maybe one person that put other. But anyways, the point of this story is if you can please write us a review, a real review, or if you can rate us, that would be awesome. I would greatly appreciate it. But anyways, going back to this podcast that we're listening to and us drawing a line in the sand, the podcast was from who? I don't remember the name because you
I've mentioned it before, but it's from The Spillover with Alex Clark.
Okay, yeah, we always want to give a shout out or honor to those who deserve it, and it was really really interesting because they were talking about children essentially.
Yeah, minors.
They were talking about kids and how the medical field is basically not what it used to be, or it's just it's hard to have faith in them anymore.
Right.
And we now have not taken our kids to the doctor for a while.
I want to say since Ileana was like 6 months. Like a checkup, you mean?
Yeah, checkup, right. Thank God they haven't been sick. They haven't. Well, yeah. Okay, and we'll get into that a little bit because one of our daughters was sick. Like she had a condition in her skin, right? We kind of talked about it briefly. Yeah. And the times that we did take her to the doctor, they would tell us, "Oh, this is normal."
We were like let down 100%.
Yeah, because we were hoping that they were gonna do some kind of a test, come back with some kind of result that was,
or just bring relief.
Something, but all they were doing was giving us steroids.
Yeah.
Which would make it go away, but then your body depends on it.
Right.
And that's not what we were looking. We're looking after what is causing this. Oh, it's just eczema. It's normal. Mm-hmm. It's not normal, right?
Oh, no.
And I feel like, and then we had an incident with Eliana when she was born. Remember? Yeah. She was born and she had kind of like a weird lump. Not a little.
It was like an
extra.
Abscess? No.
I don't know.
Like a extra layer of skin.
Well, I don't know if it was an extra layer of skin. It was just like when when a puppy gets picked up by their mother by that extra piece of
when a lion picks up a cub.
Like that. Like
we could have picked her up like that.
Yes. We could have done that.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Remember, she was born super chubby.
Very.
Okay.
Yes.
And the way that she was positioned inside of me was all on one side. So she came out a little bit lopsided. And because I ate so much.
You indulged, especially the last days before giving birth.
The last 9 months. I gained a lot of weight. She gained a lot of weight. And then she was born with this extra... I want to say there's a word for it. It's I think it's absent. No.
But the point is, she was born like that. Yeah. I mean, taking all of those things that you just said into account, it was hard to see her when she was born because she just,
I think you had a harder time than
I did. Me. I had a really hard time because I was like, wait, is this my daughter? She was swollen.
She was so chubby. Though.
Yeah. It looked weird.
So the abscess that she had on the back of her neck was a few inches thick. I want to say maybe 2 inches thick. And right away they took her away from us. And I think that was maybe like the part that got us nervous because that's never happened before. So they took her away, and I remember they were like trying to help me, and you went with her. And I was still like unsure of like what was going on because I'm here in the bed. I just had her. I think they put her on my chest for just like a little bit, yeah. A few minutes.
It was quick.
And then they just took her away.
Yeah.
And they wanted to check on her and make sure everything was good. And it was just different from the previous births because they came back and they were a little hesitant. Like, okay, we're
it seemed like they weren't telling us everything.
Something.
Yeah.
Like they were hiding something or just, not being completely transparent. And they started mentioning tests. We got to run this test. We got to run this test. And when I was like, well, why if we've never done this before? And then they mentioned something about, because she's 8 pounds or so. But I mean, Jameson was like almost 10 and he was fine. So I've seen big babies born and nothing. So that was pretty scary.
But then the part that I think the part that made me start losing faith in doctors, or at least our pediatrician, was when we were taking her for a checkup. Like she was expecting to see regression instead of progression. And she's like, like she would always come off like surprised that she was exceeding. Yeah. And I was like, wait, what the heck? Like,
yeah. Well, I took her to the pediatrician. If you have kids, you're supposed to go like just a few days after they're born, like 2 days later. And then you kind of go back 2 weeks and then you go back. So I was already kind of hesitant of a pediatrician because of stuff I had read, but I took her because of the test, right? Yeah. And yes, every time we were coming back, the first time I remember she wasn't eating enough. Remember, like I had to pump extra. I was like trying to like get
very different from our other kids.
Yeah, have my milk come in faster because she wasn't eating and then she wasn't growing. So I'm never gonna forget. Like she was like just a week old and they drew blood in her arm, and just that whole process, it was
hard.
It was hard. But I remember her saying, we need to make sure that she has the chromosomes
there you go. That's what it was.
Confirm that she's a girl. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, that was weird.
Like number one, she wasn't born with any body parts that a boy has. So
right.
Yeah, it was weird.
No, she wasn't. She's definitely a girl. And I remember having some type of hesitation, like, and the doctor made me feel like really like, if you don't do this, like something's going to happen to her and it's going to be because you're deciding not to do this. So of course, for the well-being of her, like I let them draw blood and stuff.
But it was instant regret.
She was, oh man.
I remember how
I was crying in the corner too.
What I do remember too, though, with the other girls was that if they offered like the flu shot and we would always decline it, like they would make us feel guilty for doing that. Like,
do you want to share that we don't get the flu shot? Are you sure you want to share that with the audience?
Now it's full transparency. There's no going back now. So yeah, we haven't gotten the flu shot. Like we just have stopped taking our kids for their checkups. And I mean, some of you might think that it's negligence. Some of you might think that that's very,
to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. To each their own. But this is the way that like, they've been fine. They haven't gotten sick.
Right. They haven't gotten sick. So the girls haven't gone to the pediatrician in a few years now. And Eliana, the last time I took her, she was about 6 months. And since then, they've been fine.
But then go ahead.
What happened with Fia was a little bit different. It was a skin condition, but obviously because of how severe it was, we decided to take her into the ER a few times.
Because there was nothing that we could do.
There was nothing we can do. Yeah. It was like 2-3 in the morning, and she's crying miserably. We're crying miserably. She's a tough girl. Yeah, and it was like, what do we do? She's desperate. We're desperate. Let's go to these people that are supposed to, give us relief, help us out. I do remember one time when everything barely started, like even before last year, I took her to the pediatrician, and she's like, "Oh yeah, eczema. Here's a steroid cream. Like, you're fine. Kids get this all the time." And yeah, I remember I put that lotion on her, and it did go away right away because it does work. But then when we stopped using it,
it comes back full vengeance.
Came back really bad. But we took her into the ER and there were no help to us whatsoever. And I feel like that just kind of confirmed our lack of faith in the
I think
doctors.
what's sad is that, I mean, we've had some good experiences. Remember when Annabelle cracked her head open under somebody's care and
Your
they had
care?
to staple her head?
Okay.
You know, like they
Let's
were
be clear.
awesome.
You had her.
But they were awesome with her. Like, I mean, there have been good stories about it, but it's turned more bad than good in recent years.
Right.
And
well, I do think that, I mean, if somebody walks in with a broken foot, I feel like that's easier to assess than.
But then again, this is just our experience. I'm sure that there's people, if you have kids and you're like, oh, well, I've never had, well, then great. Like, praise God for that because, you know, like, I think at the end of the day, it's just what you feel peace about in your heart.
Well, I think we have to clarify that because there's a lot of stuff that we have already talked about and that we might mention that this is us, obviously, that we are deciding to share with all of you.
Yeah, this is our platform.
But, I mean, to each their own, and may God guide and give us all the wisdom to discern what our family needs.
Exactly.
So if I don't take my kids to the doctor, but you do, then that's
Good
great.
for you, yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no, we have plenty of friends around us that take their kids to the doctor all the time. And it's like.
And they get sick after.
We stay. Okay. We still hang out.
I'm not going to edit this. So I got to be careful with what I say.
Exactly. But if you want to know who it is, text me.
I'm just kidding. No, we're not going to do that. But okay. So anyways, going back to the podcast that we were listening to yesterday, because, you know, there's a lot going on right now in the world. And the last time, what? Did somebody text you?
No, people are going to think we're like this, like, organic, like,
and we're not. I mean, if you
family.
see us,
we
like,
just
we're not.
ate chips out of a freaking chip bag. Like,
and we like,
it's so funny.
It's,
but
anyhow, going back to this podcast that we were listening to yesterday, and like we mentioned in our last podcast, the last episode, we are living in a time of deep darkness, right? And
perversion.
And although to some, and it might seem like the majority, it's normal, and this is where I feel like, oh my God,
oh my gosh,
wait,
sorry.
what the heck? What's going on with you?
I tried to I almost died.
You should mute your microphone next time.
No, because then I don't unmute it. But literally, I was like trying to sneeze.
If you sneeze, cough, and fart, you can die at the same time. Like if you do all three of those, I think it's three of. Wait, it's
he
sneeze.
told my kids that, and they have been trying to do it.
No, but it's sneeze, cough, burp, and fart at the same time, and I think you can die.
Well, Renee almost sneezed and coughed, and that's what you saw right now.
And then you farted.
No,
so you did 3 out of the 4.
Okay.
Anyways, you're taking away from this very moving and very what's the word? Just anyways, we're listening to this podcast. We know we're living in really dark times, and this podcast had to do with kids, 9-10-year-old kids that are going to the doctor because they feel that if it's a boy, he doesn't feel like a boy. If it's a girl, she doesn't feel like a girl. And instead of, the first instinct is to, okay, let me give you puberty blockers.
Right.
Which they're making it seem like is completely normal.
Right.
But if it's normal, why are they stopping the nature of the human body? Does that make sense?
Well, because the kid is coming in confused.
No. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, instead of trying to see the psychology behind why you feel this way or why do you think, they're instantly going into the body and trying to reverse nature, trying to reverse, how God created designed us.
Right.
And it was crazy to hear how deep this goes.
Yeah.
And how one of these kids can be ruined for the rest of their lives.
Well, I
think that they're trying to help by preventing my period, preventing puberty. But in reality, they grew up being in a worse state than the confusion that they had.
Right. And I don't know exactly if the kids go into this knowing that, because
they're kids.
Because they could be under the impression, and we're saying kids because this podcast, can you like put the link like to the podcast?
We can put the link.
If you are brave, you can listen to it.
Yeah, man, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Like, they talk about very serious things that are happening. And okay, fine. Is it swayed to one side? It is. I mean,
course.
It's definitely more to the conservative side.
Right.
It falls in line with what we believe. Obviously, we believe in Jesus, and we're not going to shy away from that. And we believe that what they're doing is wrong. Yeah.
We believe in what is right.
Exactly. Yeah. And, but so again, to each their own.
We're going to lose a lot of followers after this.
Well, there wasn't that many to begin with.
But, so we say children because in the podcast, it's like talking about minors, but they did make a big emphasis on that there's young kids at the age of 9, 10, when they should be going through puberty or start going through puberty. Then they find themselves confused. They go to the doctor, and instead of the doctor like, oh, let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about, what you might be feeling, what's going on at home, blah, blah, blah. They just like, it's like the catch-all, like, oh, you could be trans. Remember that?
Like right off the bat.
Right. So then they set up the child to be in this path of where the child might feel accepted because maybe they're the opposite sex. Yeah. But I don't think that they're clear in the fact of like, okay, if you go down this path, this is something that you need to be tied to for the rest of your life. Right. They make it seem like, oh, this is going to make you happy right now.
It's just a Band-Aid.
Right. So I think that's obviously one other trick is like, okay, well now they take these puberty blockers, they do this, they take that, they may have this surgery, but then it's like you're chained for life because, like they said in the podcast, like our bodies weren't designed to have other stuff that people are putting on their bodies, so their body is, she even said, like, your body is fighting back. Like, why are we?
Because that's what it was designed to do. Yeah,
exactly.
And I think it goes worse than that, though, because then they start talking about, like, once they get to the point where they're trying to do, like, actual sex changes.
Oh,
And, I mean...
I wasn't sure where you were going to go with that.
No, yeah. And just how, like, if you're a male and you're trying to have female body parts or organs, they will make a wound and start creating...
Right.
A woman's vagina.
Which is crazy. But then the body, what does it try to do?
It would start to heal
itself. Yeah. Because when you have a wound, an open wound, your body just automatically starts healing, closing. And so this person has to go back and have multiple surgeries, which is just, and
then they can't even function normally.
Which I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't know that. Which imagine, okay, there's this person that's coming in confused. And then what they want is to be the opposite sex. Okay, cool. We're going to make that happen. And then they are the opposite sex. And then they don't have feeling. They don't have desires. Or, it doesn't work.
They end up being, which this doctor was saying is that they end up being worse than how.
Of course. Because now it's like a whole, like.
But then I think about this. It's like, how many times is Sophia confused about what she wants to eat? How many times is she confused about, the clothes that she's going to wear? She's confused, like.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like it's a part of their development.
Well, yes. And the doctor did say these things will resolve themselves.
Right.
It's just part of like hormones and stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, give it time. But when you start the first hesitation, you go to the doctor and now it's like, okay, yeah, you're a boy. Oh, you feel like this today? Okay, now you're this.
So I remember, I don't know how old I was. I was young. But I remember just questioning my own sexuality. Like, wait, do I like girls or do I like boys? Because I grew up in Hollywood. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. When I grew up.
Did you live in Wilcox?
I grew up in Hollywood. And so I must have been, I think when we moved out of there, I was like 13 or 14. Okay. And I remember my brother, Man,
my
this is
God.
crazy. I remember we would go to West Hollywood, which West Hollywood it has a reputation for being a safe place for homosexuality and LGBTQ and all that. And I remember that we would go to the Halloween parties. Like I remember specifically two different Halloween parties that they had. Yeah, were they fun? They were fun, but I saw a lot of things that I should not have seen as a kid.
And you were like 13?
13, 14 years of age. And I'm like seeing, all these things. So I think it was natural for me to say, like, well, how do I know I like girls? Or how do I know that I don't like boys? But then, like, it was just that, like, I just knew, right? I just knew.
Well,
but
it's
could
funny.
you imagine, like, if I would have gone to the doctor and said, like, hey, like, I'm here for my checkup, and they would have asked me the questions, like, oh, have you ever had any interest in, or have you ever thought that maybe you're not a boy, and I would have said, yeah, I've thought of, okay, well, start taking these pills, because that's really what. Maybe I'm being extreme, but that's the way that I understood it,
right?
Based off of what we were listening to.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I remember being a little about the same. There was about the same age, but there was a gal.
A gal.
I know.
A girl.
Well, later she came out.
As what? Bisexual?
Well, she's a lesbian.
Oh, okay.
But then I think like it got like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like more intense. But I remember that like she always gave off that vibe, and there was a little bit of time where I was like, wait.
Do I like her?
Not her. No. Like, kind of like, what if I liked girls?
Oh, yeah.
But because it was, but it didn't last long.
Yeah.
But
it was just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, right now that you're saying that, I remember because I was about 12, right? And that point where like puberty hits, and then, I remember having that thought. One time that I was with her, I used to hang out. She was at church and we would hang out, but it's just, nowadays it's like.
But what I'm saying is
they make it easy.
I have a 9-year-old, and I know how she's so undecisive about the food that she wants to eat and
what shoes she's gonna wear.
Like she literally will cry because we'll tell her to wear your white ones. Well, I don't want to wear those. I want to wear the the other ones. Well, what other ones? I don't know.
Okay, that's Fia. That's not Anna.
No, that's what I mean. It is Fia.
Oh, because you said 9-year-old. Fia's 8.
Oh, that's right. She's 8. Well, anyways, the point is she's more 9. She is 8 now, but
she just turned 8.
I know, but. The point here that I'm trying to make is a kid. How is a kid going to go in there and like they even dismiss the parents from the room when they're doing these checkups?
Okay, so that I had also heard in some mom group last year that I was in that they were asked to step out and her child was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I personally haven't taken my kid, so I don't know if they're doing that like here in Tigard, Oregon, but it is alarming. Like, I wouldn't let Sophia go in by herself.
Well, the thing is, like, we live in a very liberal state.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
We live in a very liberal state, and they are pushing that agenda,
of course,
on public schools and just kids in general.
Well, when I go to work,
there you go. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, you hear it. Like,
no.
Okay, so I haven't been in a public school in I don't know how long. So I hear all these things and I'm like, no.
Okay, so that's how I was like with the whole like don't mess with our kids. They were talking about how you walk into these schools and it's just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's intense. You can only imagine. So now when I go to work, there's like 2 schools for sure that are not hiding anything. All of them have some some saying, some affirmations, but 2 schools for sure have the flags like painted outside the walls. They have these huge murals, and then the teachers themselves are like, it's usually like I've seen a lot of men dressed as women.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it's like uncomfortable to see because here's this big old man with a beard, deep voice, like stocky, but he's wearing a skirt, Doc Martens, and a lacy blouse. So it's like, I don't know the look they're going for.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, I don't want to make it seem that because we don't agree with someone's lifestyle that, how do I say it? Like, we still care about these people.
Right.
And we still want to see them be saved.
Of course.
And obviously, like, us talking about this not to hurt anyone's feelings. you know, but I mean, we're not going to stay away from what we believe is the truth.
Yes, that's what you're saying is 100%. We don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, they live their life and they believe in what they believe in.
Yeah.
And we believe in what we believe in. And I think the reason we're bringing this up is because just in case people were thinking, it's not around me. It is.
No, it is.
And I feel like we probably were in that little bubble of like, because our kids are home, our kids aren't dealing with this, thank God. Okay, we're good. But no, we need to wake up and see that it's affecting us as a body of Christ.
When I think it goes further than that, because, you know, I think we definitely need to have
Donnelly.
We need to have Jenny Donnelly on, because she is on a mission. Like, she's received an assignment from God to gather 1 million women in Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah.
And there's just, this whole, you know, identity crisis that's happening. I mean, we know where this agenda is coming from, you know? Any of us who have accepted Jesus into our heart, we know who we are. We know that we're created in the image and likeness of God.
Yes.
And if you're a boy, you know, God created you so that you could become a man.
Right.
And by becoming a man, you're going to be a father. And by being a father, you're going to be able to portray and reflect our Father that's in heaven.
Right.
And if you're a woman, if you're a girl, then you're going to become a woman, and you're going to become a mother at some point, and you're going to nurture. You know, you're going to nurture, and together, a mom and a dad are going to raise kids, and so on and so forth. Like, that was God's design for humanity, right?
Right.
But you know, there's an enemy. There's an enemy. Like any story that we see on, you know, in a movie, there's a good guy and a bad guy, you know, and you might take the position, well, what makes the devil the bad guy? Man, that's the whole nother, episode in itself. But, you know, what he is trying to do is trying to bring exactly that confusion and trying to stop a boy from becoming a man so that they can be the love of God reflected here on earth.
Right.
And he's trying to kill that seed.
Exactly.
The seed that a man carries in reproduction and multiplication. Like, he's trying to cut that.
Well, that doctor said also, is going back to that, is that these people, the children that decide to do a body gender change are infertile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. She
because
said that,
of everything that they use beforehand. So it's just definitely trying to stop the fatherhood and just like the family like God and designed it to be.
Well, anyways, going back to Jenny, you know, she
just
has
cut me off.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It's just I didn't want to lose my train of thought. You know how easy I do that. But, you know, she has a mission. But part of why, like, I am so behind this movement now is that slogan that we mentioned last time: "Don't mess with my kids." Right. And she said that, you know, God spoke to her and told her, like, you know, the church, we're not going to care until they start messing with our kids. And I mean, we've heard rumors of, parents are going to go to jail if they try to stand in the way of their kids getting whatever treatment they think that they need to carry on with this agenda. So now, like, listening to this woman, you know, and the assignment that she has, it's like, man, like, if, God forbid, but if my kids were ever taken away from me, let it be not because I, you know, was abusive towards them but that I'm standing up for what I know is right.
Right.
You know, and I know that, I mean, I know it's not going to come to that, but just the thought that.
Doesn't it get you mad?
It gets me pissed.
You can't say that on here.
Well, we'll have to put the little tag that says explicit language. But it gets me really upset at the thought of somebody trying to take my kids. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to break down the door and come and kidnap them. You know, I mean, although they could, but it's more about, and I think the other part that got me was, you know, here we're thinking like, okay, well, they're homeschooled and okay, we don't have to worry about exposing them to that right now, right? Because we're the type of people that we're trying to conserve their innocence. Like, we're protecting their innocence. And whatever, man, you can call us whatever you want, you know, but this is the way that we're choosing to raise our family.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you how to raise your family.
Okay.
But But do you get what I'm saying? Like,
No, I get what you're saying.
I want my kids to be innocent for as long as possible.
Right.
Because once that innocent is gone,
it's gone.
it's gone. It ain't coming back. So
Yeah.
the fact that here we thought like, oh, we're safe. We're homeschooling them. But no, man. Like I've said this before, like the devil does not take days
Right.
off.
No.
So this is where
Everybody
we
take
stand.
a deep breath.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath.
Dave,
And
I was
let's
saying
just
that more for you.
Yeah, no, you can tell, I get so passionate, emotional, whatever you want to call it over this because, yeah, like I feel attacked. I do. I feel attacked. And, I never want to see my kids put in a position where I can't defend them because that's what I'm here for. I'm their defender. Right. And I'm their protector, and I'm the one that's giving them their identity. Like I constantly tell my daughters, like, man, you guys are princesses. You guys are beautiful. You guys are this. Like I'm affirming God's plan. Yeah. His original plan for them. And we tell them constantly. We're constantly affirming them that they're going to be a mother one day, even though they think it's gross, right? And they are like, ew, like I'm never going to get married. And it's like, yeah. Like I don't want them to, but no. Like it's part of God's plan, and I want them to be, the mother that you are and the mother that my mother-in-law is. And, all of that put together. And yeah, it really got to me yesterday. It really did. So I'm taking a stand. Yeah. I'm taking a stand. And yeah, if you're going to be our only listener, whoever you are, then man, I'm going to stand with you and I'm going to fight for you and I'm going to, protect you too, because, that's the thing. Kids don't have a voice sometimes. Yeah. They're like, literally, they're the innocent ones. Like they're getting bullied. I know. They're getting bullied. And I used to get bullied when I was a kid, and I've been a bully too. And it sucks. It sucks. So anyways, guys, we're going to see what we can do about having Jenny on. Maybe. Hopefully we can, find a way that we can have her talk about what God has placed in her heart. Yeah. And again, I know we drew the line in the sand and there's no going back now. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I believe in God's original plan, and I'm not going down without a fight. Right. Yeah. So sorry, it's not Super Bowl talk or Taylor Swift talk today, but I think I just needed to get that off my chest. Yeah. So pray for us. Obviously pray for us so that we have wisdom and understanding. And I mean, through this all, like I still want to be compassionate. And like I said, I love the sinner. I just don't love the sin, and I think that's the position that God takes. He doesn't love the sin, but he loves the sinner. And we were all sinners. Like, don't think that we're perfect and like, oh, well, what makes you the one that's judging? Well, I'm not judging. Like, I'm just going off of what I believe is true from what the convictions and I'm not just saying because I've read it in the Bible. Like, no, like I'm talking about because I have the conviction in me telling me what's right and what's wrong. Right? Yeah. So God help us.
God help us all.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you want to talk about this more, off the air and you just want to get more information, please feel free to reach out to us and we will gladly talk about it. And if you need prayer, if you're going through something and you just need somebody to stand there with you, man, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to pray for you and bring you into our little community and family. Yeah, I feel like there should be worship music right now. Maybe I'll throw some on right now. There you go.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I guess that's enough for today.
Yeah, I think we should cut it.
We'll go ahead and stop this today. I'm actually on my way to, well, not literally, but I'm going to be leaving to Florida tomorrow night, and I'll be coming back Friday. So
that was Thursday.
Thursday night. I don't know if I'm going to wait for you to make the show, though. No, I'm just kidding.
You're going to take all them.
I'm just kidding. We'll have to record it on Friday again, and then hopefully post it on Friday. Today is Friday. Man. It doesn't feel like it. I'm so tired. Everything just seems like a blur. But anyways, all right, guys, please go ahead and follow us on Instagram. We're on YouTube now.
Yes, write us a review.
Give us a rating. Even after this, you don't like it. If you don't like it, don't rate it. No, I'm just kidding. We just want to, again, we want to be transparent and we want to be true to what we believe is true. And there's many podcasts that I'm sure will line up with what you believe, and that's okay. Like,
you're just assuming people are gonna.
No. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, you know, like, it's, for instance, like, if I wanted to hear about baseball, but they're only talking about the San Francisco Giants, it's like, okay, yeah, that's baseball, but I'm not gonna listen to that. Like, they're garbage, and I'm gonna go find a podcast that talks about the Dodgers. So that's what I mean. Like, you know, like, that doesn't mean that I'm hoping or assuming that people are gonna leave. But I'm just saying, like, you know, if today was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of turned into something that I wasn't expecting, that's fine. Like, there are plenty of options out there. But if you want to stick this through with us, man, like, we're not always going to talk about this either.
Right.
It was just something that was really heavy in my heart, and I wanted to use my platform to just let it out.
Right. And that's okay.
Yeah. So next week we'll try to be a little more
upbeat.
No,
well, not upbeat. That's the wrong word.
It is. Yeah.
More
just
maybe not so intense.
Yeah.
Because last week got a little intense.
Well, last week, I mean, we're talking about shootings. Like, you know, like, I mean, it hit close to home. Like, they went into a church and they, you know, they were on a rampage. So I'm just saying,
we'll maybe talk about something a little.
Hey, we're talking about the things that are happening in the world.
Okay.
No, right?
No, yes.
Okay.
But I'm saying because you're making it, sorry. That it's like, well.
Sorry, I'm not apologizing.
You just said that.
What did I say? Let's play it back. No, for real. When did I say I was sorry?
I thought you said, like, sorry, like that, like, find something else if it's not.
Oh,
for you.
well, yeah. Like, I'm not apologizing for what I said. I'm apologizing if maybe now it's.
You're gonna make people believe that we're always fighting.
Well, I mean, it's about time they find out. All right, everyone. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. Have a good week. God bless you. And I look forward to those reviews. And remember, Miel San Marcos for the Super Bowl halftime show in what, 2025? Yeah, 2025.
Did you post that thing?
I posted, and Sammy from Miel San Marcos, the drummer, he liked it. I didn't hear back from anybody else though. And speaking of Miel San Marcos, we have a really big surprise. We're not in liberty to share it just yet, but
if you want to know, text me.
All right, guys, have a good one. God bless you. Talk to you later.
Bye.